Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing love and translation. So, just so you are aware, kind of starting a little late, but anyways, because anything Matt Sharp / TLC is usually trash that comes on a Sunday and a Monday, we are going to start posting love and translation memes. So you probably will have those by the time that this episode comes out anyways. But yeah, that's what we're going to start doing. I was kind of contemplating whether or not I would do it for Bachelor, but Bachelor is so different. It's not like quote unquote trash in the same way, so I probably will not do it for that. But yeah, I figured, you know what, why not? Because this is trash, so let's do it. But so you can expect that. Just as another quick update on my medical situation. Still don't have much to tell at the moment, but hopefully I can have more of an answer as to what I'm looking at for everything that's kind of going on with me medically, so that I'll be able to give you guys a little idea as to what to expect. So yeah, I should have something to tell you by maybe late next week into the following week, as I do have an appointment coming up soon. So that's what I have kind of going on. So still nothing to report at this time, but just so you are aware, this probably will mean that the podcast again will be on a hiatus for a little bit. I don't know how long yet, but it probably will be on a hiatus. Similarly with the Next Take podcast, we are recording ahead of schedule though, so hopefully there won't be too much of a pause with that. So at least with where Next Take is concerned, we're well ahead of schedule. So there won't be too much of a lull on that if you are a Next Take podcast listener. So with that being said, let's hop into the reason that we are here. Love and Translation, Season 1, Episode 8. You lost me at Arigato. So let's get into it. Dylan is dead to me, Tula says, with everything that we're finding out. She says that she could tell that he wanted to tell her something before he went on his date, but that he had to leave, in a rush, kind of. And we now see Yam coming, and Gisele kind of leaves because I think Yam calls her a bitch or something around those lines, and she dips. And Yam basically admits here that yes, her and Dylan did have sex. She says that, she was hurt with everything that happened on the beach and him not picking her for the date, that it just happened. I'm sorry, but a man's dick does not just slip into your vajayjay and I'm sorry. I'm on two fences here with the whole situation between Yam and Dylan, and I'll get to it, but it doesn't just happen. I hear people say, it just happened. I'm sorry, it just doesn't just happen. Anyway, Tulai says, okay, then he is a fuckboy. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's 21 years old. Of course he's a fuckboy. Anyway, then we see Heidi and Yin. They're basically just talking about, there's a lot of differences between some of these women and Asian women, especially Latina women, because they're a little more out there in comparison to, Asian women. And she just kind of feels that she's kind of in this place with Kahlil where she wants to open up, but her culture is kind of holding her back a little bit, and she doesn't want to be kind of left behind in the process. And she does kind of say there's this saying in Japan where if you speed up in a relationship, that you're basically gonna break it up. So that's kind of where her mind is. So 4 hours later, we have our daters back in the house, and the house is eerily quiet. Dylan has to point this out. And Juliana says that the date was good, and it was romantic. And Imani says that the date was horrible, and there's no connection with Kahlil or any of these men, to be honest. The other women are now showing up, and I'll tell you, right in front of Dylan, doesn't Tulai tell Juliana, by the way, Yam and Dylan had sex last night. And Juliana is shocked. She, looks towards him, but then looks away, and she's like, I can't even look at him. She feels like she's going to explode with rage. She feels stupid because here she was on this date to Dylan, telling him how bad she felt about him not picking Yam and how Yam was so upset. So she feels dumb because clearly Dylan just let her talk about it. Meanwhile, he was literally fucking Yam the night before. And yeah, she's pissed. She's pissed at Dylan. She's pissed at Yam. And you know what? I don't blame her because, yeah, I don't know how I would feel in that situation if I'm literally, my heart is telling me I shouldn't be on this date and someone else should be on this fucking date. And then you find out that that person that you're literally advocating for when you should be advocating for yourself just had sex with him the night before. And it was the night before you were going on a date with him. Like, that's horrible. And so then also, when I might miss this, Juliana does call Yam a bitch. But don't worry, she will tell her to her face. Dylan goes to try and talk to Lai. And she's like, no, I don't want to talk to you. But he does follow her. And she tells him, so you had sex with Yam last night. And trust me, you don't need to know German to know sex was sex. Okay? You could clearly tell this girl said sex. So Dylan's like, yeah, I was gonna tell you. I fucked up on that. And Tulai basically says, yeah, you're a fuckboy. And she walks away from him. So, yeah. Then we see Yam and Jhenyfer are upset. They're in the bedroom. They're by themselves. They're clearly feeling alienated at this point, or at least Yam is. Lady comes up to talk to her and, kind of talking this out. And Yam tells her, everyone thinks I'm a slut because I had sex with him. Someone told Gisele, and Gisele told everybody else. Bitch, you only told Jhenyfer. So the woman who's there with you right now is the one that told everybody. Anyways, yeah, so she's like, everyone now knows and they think I'm a slut. And Lady's like, who gives a shit? So what if you had sex with him? Clearly you wanted him, he wanted you, y'all fucked, and that's that. Like, whatever. And that's true on that one side. It's like, it is what it is. These two grown people made a decision to have sex with each other. So who gives a rat's ass, really and truly. But it's at the same time as that he has grown this connection, not only a physical, but an emotional connection with Tulai. He's kind of built some sort of a connection with Sarah as well. And now he's gone on this date with Juliana and he had sex with you the night before. It's kind of a slap in the face for these other women who have been building up a connection with him throughout this entire situation without using their pussies to do so. And then you come in, and I'm not saying that she used her pussy to do so. She was clearly, they're building something very, recently, but they have been. And within a matter of, a day? It's literally been a day. Y'all, it's literally been a day. When I think about the timeline here, it has literally been a day. They just played soccer or whatever the fuck, that day. And then it was that afternoon that they did the kissing thing. So it's literally been a day that he's like, oh, Yam, I'm noticing Yam. And then that night you're fucking her. Yeah, I'd be mad too. Okay, I worked it out in my mind. I'd be mad too. I'd be mad as well. But the main thing is you broke a code here a little bit. It's one thing to explore a connection with him without using your sexuality to do it. But then as soon as the sexuality aspect comes into it, y'all, There's a little bit of a problem. But then Juliana comes in and she's literally telling her, I felt bad for you. Round of applause, you played me and he played me, and I'm out here like talking about how you deserve to be on the date, and meanwhile y'all had sex the night before. And then she calls her a bitch to her face, and Yam comes back by saying you're ridiculous after she walks away. But Yam, you have to understand from her perspective, if the tables were turned, you would be pissed too. Like, you would be pissed. You would feel slighted. So, yeah. She basically says here that she didn't really expect the other women to be, like, harsh towards her. And she wasn't expecting that. What were you expecting then, ma'am? Because you just had sex with one of the men here. What did you expect? The women were going to be, oh my god, okay, like, good for you. High five. You had sex with him. Like, no, they're going to be mad. Of course they're going to be mad. And, like, Dylan is, like, the hot commodity in this house. They're going to be mad. So Kahlil and Heidi now take a little break from that, are in his room. She tells him that she is happy, and he then asks her if she would be willing to sleep in his room with him. No sex, just cuddling. She has to stress this out though. I didn't come all the way here from Japan to have sex with somebody. Like, that's not my goal. But he says, no sex. We're just gonna sleep. It's kind of a big thing for him to kind of connect on this level of sleeping in the same bed with somebody. But she is okay to try to do this, even though this is maybe something she wouldn't do in her culture, but she's willing to try. So that's what they're going to do. Then we come out of that and we see Imani is packing. She's going to leave. She tells the ladies that she is leaving. And then she decides to go to Tripp, which I found this interesting. Why would she have done this? Unless she had some sort of feelings towards Tripp. But she goes to Tripp, and she's like, I'm going to talk to Tripp or tell him myself that I'm leaving because I want to make sure that I'm treating him like a human and we're going off on the right foot here. So she goes to Tripp and she's like, she's telling him a bunch of different things of, I don't think you're a bad guy. I think you're clumsy, but I don't think you're a bad guy. I'm going to say goodbye. But she keeps saying au revoir, obviously, right? Because he's French. Or she speaks French, I should say. She's actually Moroccan. She speaks French. But, he clearly doesn't know everything that she's saying, but any dum-dum can hear au revoir means goodbye in French. And he basically, like a dick, says, okay, bye. Like, he feels nothing. He doesn't care. He's actually, I'm happy you're leaving. Deuces. And he's fine about it. But that pisses her off, which I think it would piss me off too. If I know that I'm coming into this with good intention. I really hope Tripp watched this back and is like, oh shit, that was her trying to, at least leave on a peaceful foot. So my bad. But he was being a dick in this moment. And she's like, you're an asshole. Basically, like, I'm trying here to be nice to your fucking ass when you don't fucking deserve me to be nice to your fucking ass, but here I am, and you're basically just spitting in my face, so, okay, bye. Like, yeah, anyway. Then we see Asya is also packing, and she is also going to leave. She liked Kahlil, and obviously, not Kahlil, Dylan, and that's obviously didn't go anywhere. I'm gonna shock that 2 people are leaving today. But, I mean, clearly why are we shocked? I'm surprised Yin's still here. Because she doesn't have a connection with anybody either. But, Dylan is shocked as well that she is leaving. Even though he didn't have a connection with her, he kind of is starting to feel like she's leaving. So that how could that necessarily stop any of these other women that I have felt a connection with from leaving as well? Well, when you decide to stick your dick in a woman that you barely had a connection with prior to that, and you're basically shitting on the other connections that you have, well, sir, that's how I know you're not ready to be anybody's husband. You're only 21. Like, you're not ready for that. Anyways. So, how did last night go with Heidi and Kahlil? Because now we're in the next day. it didn't go the way that Kahlil hoped it would. He said, like, obviously I didn't want to overstep my bounds. So there wasn't much of like a physical connection while in bed together. And the funny thing here is that Heidi says, like, he didn't really make a move, so I didn't really make a move. But at the same time, it kind of feels like she wanted him to make a move and then he didn't. So, what the fuck? they're not, like, yes, they don't understand each other, but they're not, because of that, it's actually detrimental to them, because it's not like Tripp and Lady where I feel like maybe they can't understand each other fully, but they're still, like, they seem to be really understanding each other. Same thing with Dylan and Tulai before he fucked up. I felt like they were really understanding each other. Between Heidi and Kahlil, they're missing each other because he's doing the right thing by trying to respect her culture, and I love that he's doing that. But at the same time, they are missing each other in terms of, yeah. Anyway. So Yam says that I think she said she misses Dylan. Although I felt like she meant she might miss her son, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but I was a little confused. But she says she misses him. She doesn't feel comfortable talking to him. He hasn't tried talking to her either. So, yeah, she says that she's missing him. She then mentions, like I said, she has an 8-year-old son. And she is worried to tell Dylan because how could she compete with these other women who don't have kids? He's 21. He's probably not ready to be whether a father or, a parent of some sort, or, really ready to take on a woman who has a child. And obviously they are a package deal. And she's 29 years old. So it's just like, she does say, if someone can't accept my child or can't connect with my child, then it's a fucking done deal. We're going nowhere because you have to. That is my child. But she is afraid to tell him because you have Tulai, you have Sarah, you have Juliana, who don't have children. And I wouldn't necessarily, well, maybe they're a little closer in age to him. I do think most of these women are older than him, though. And then you have Yam, who is 8 years older than him and has a child. So, that's a big deal. So, Sangeeta is here. Yay, she has an announcement for everybody, and that announcement's going to blow shit out the water. She says in 2 days, the men will be picking 2 women that they wish to continue with in this experiment. But before they do, and the others will go home, right? I think we can gather the others are going home. But before we get to that point, we're going to have a group date. And we're going to go out dancing. So that is what's going to happen. So let's get to it. Tripp says that he likes to cut up a rug, even though he doesn't really dance very well. So this is going to be really fucking scary for everybody. Moving on. We see Tripp and Gisele are actually talking to each other, which I feel like this is the first time we're seeing them really talk since the date, since she almost left. Like, I feel this is the first time we're actually seeing them have a conversation. And he tells her, don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to swim still, because he promised her he was going to teach her how to swim at this date. If we don't remember, she almost drowned in the first date, because that was many, many days ago now, many weeks ago now, and he did promise that he was going to teach her how to swim, so he said he's still going to do that. And he wonders, maybe, am I giving this a fair chance with Gisele, because he's been so focused on Lady, like, am I giving this a fair shot? Well, no, Tripp, because it is going to backfire on him next week, or towards the end of this week into next week. So, Yam, she kind of says, like, she doesn't really talk to Dylan because she's kind of worried about pissing the other women off. If they see her talk to him, like, it's going to be World War IV, because World War III already happened when we found out they had sex. So, Lady, as we're on the way to the club, lady is basically saying, listen, I'm loving him, okay? Not in that sense, but she's loving it. And she's stuck to him like glue. So she's not going to allow him to dance with anybody else. And we definitely see how that's going to turn out. But now we're there, and we're kind of listening to, the music and everything. And lady's like, it's a bachata. We're going to go dance the bachata. So she's going to teach him how to dance. So meanwhile, as she's dancing with Tripp, we see Gisele is twerking right in front of Tripp. And with Tripp can't even, luckily lady was not looking towards him. She had her back to him. She was like up against him. But he's like staring at Gisele's ass. And the thing is that lady's like, I know what she's trying to do. I know she's trying to catch his attention. And that's kind of upsetting me. She doesn't have anything against Gisele. But of course she's trying to get Tripp's attention. And she has the ass. She's going to shake it. Of course, like, you would do the same thing. Come on. And Dylan is just off at the bar by himself. He doesn't want to it doesn't seem like he wants to interact with anybody because he's like up in his feelings and shit. And none of these women, he says, are talking to him. He's just in his feelings. Jhenyfer, because I have to mention this bitch, Jhenyfer is pissed that Heidi keeps going after him and like trying to, try to put her foot forward here and try to be something with this guy. She's mad about it because how dare you try to get more attention from him after you spent the whole night with him? Like, fuck you, bitch. You don't want him. The only reason you're going after him is because Heidi is. That's the only reason. How dare her try to actually build up on a relationship with this guy, which would be very genuine and very authentic. And you only want him because someone else does. Classic toxic woman, honestly. So Heidi is going to be drinking a lot. She's, she says that Asian women tend to, or Japanese women should say, she says Japanese women tend to get drunk very easily. And especially her, she's drinking a lot of tequilas. She's getting a little rowdy. She will be getting a little rowdy. But meanwhile, as she's getting rowdy, Jhenyfer and Kahlil are actually dancing with each other. And Jhenyfer is like, I want to kiss Kahlil. But he says, maybe later. No, sir. No. Fuck you, sir. No, you're not kissing her. The first person you should be kissing up in this shit is fucking Heidi. Okay? I know you guys have kissed already, but I don't count the kissing project shit. Like, I'm just like, really, sir? No. Don't make me hate you. Anyway. But he says, like, he's loving the physical chemistry with her. He talks about the fact that, like, he isn't able to really have that kind of physical connection with Heidi because he's worried about disrespecting her and all of that. So, like, he's just loving the fact that he can have some physical connection with somebody. And I'm just like, sir? So you're basically just proving to me that no matter what, all of you fuckers are thinking with your dicks. And I'm so mad. I mean, I expected it from Dylan. I expect Dylan to fuck up, okay? I said that from day one. Dylan is too young. He's not ready for sort of a committed relationship or marrying somebody at the end of this. I knew this. But I didn't expect it from Kahlil. I thought maybe you are a half-decent fucking man, but you've just gone and proved to me, yet again, like any other man, that all you do is think with your dick. Anyways. And he just keeps telling her, oh, you're naughty. I'm like, fuck you. Then we see Sarah and Dylan talking, and Yam can see that they are talking, and they're literally right in front of her. And it's getting to her. She's upset because obviously she herself has not had a chance to talk to Dylan after all of this bullshit that's erupted. Then Dylan and Sarah go and dance. And both Julai and Juliana are together. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, we can see at one point that he is dancing with Sarah. And the weird thing with Sarah is that she says to him, oh, you're playing with my heart, you're playing with me, and I don't like it. But I'm just like, but you're playing a game too. No different than what Dylan's playing a game in his own way. You're playing a game too. You've been saying that from day one that you're playing a game. And the thing is, like, I don't dislike Sarah, but I don't particularly like her either, because I'm just like, you're playing a game, and I don't like that you're playing a game and then you're accusing him of playing a game. Come on. And yeah, so she says that, but she's still there. She's still dancing with him, dancing on him, whatever. And the thing is my little man ego, this little man's ego here is literally like, well, Sarah's the only girl here who's giving me any attention. Nobody else is talking to me, and I'm really liking that. So I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, get over yourself, sir. But then Tulai goes up to them and says, finished, enough, and then simply walks away back to the bar. And she's basically telling them, stop fucking dancing, you motherfucker, and do something to make things better, because you blew up everything. And I loved it. I honestly loved it. But then what ends up happening, because Dylan basically just showed his ass to Sarah too, and to everyone else there, if they were watching. What he ends up doing is he, with Sarah in his ears saying, Dylan, what are you doing? He literally goes after Tulai. Wow. And that's all you need to fucking know. That clearly he's gonna fight for Tulai. So I'm gonna do predictions, what I think the men are gonna do, because I'm assuming we're gonna find that out next week in terms of who they're gonna pick. But let's do next time on first. Next time on, we see that Dylan is talking to Tulai. Kahlil thinks that ID should slow down on the tequila, so he's clearly getting maybe a little turned off by her potentially getting drunk here. Gisele sees that Tripp and Lady kiss, and she basically thinks that she is wasting her time with this guy, and she's basically walking away. Dylan and Yam talk, and the funny thing with this too that it pisses me off about men is that he literally says in this moment that like, oh, I thought she wasn't really into me anymore or whatever, and because she wasn't talking to me, so I'm so confused now because she's like, giving me all of this like emotions and shit. But I'm like, sir, she's not talking to you because the other women are gonna fucking blow up in her face. She's trying to respect the women to whatever extent she can. You're fucking dumb. Men are dumb. Anyway, and then with that, we have this another thing that solidifies how stupid men are. Jhenyfer is in Kahlil's room. And clearly they're making out and shit. Heidi is actually going and is like, where's Kahlil? Where's Kahlil? And she goes to his room. She's knocking on his door saying, Kahlil, Kahlil. And she's like, is Jhenyfer in there with you? He says, yeah, with fucking attitude, by the way. Like, how dare you interrupt me, basically. And she literally ends up calling Jhenyfer like a whore or a slut or something. I can't remember. But I'm just like, Kahlil, we're all rooting for you here. That you were going to do the right fucking thing. So you know what? You don't deserve her. Fuck you. Go be with Jhenyfer, you dumb bitch. Anyways. That's basically that with Love in Translation for this week. So my predictions as to what I think is going to happen. Who I think, well, I think it's pretty obvious as long as Gisele sticks around that Tripp is going to pick Gisele and Lady. So that's pretty obvious. That's not too complicated. With Kahlil, I think again it's going to be pretty obvious that he, as long as he doesn't fuck up with ID, which I think he is going to with Jhenyfer, that he obviously is going to pick Jhenyfer and ID. And then with Dylan, this is a little bit harder. That I think that so he has four women. He has four women that he has a connection with. He has Yam, he has Juliana, he has Tulai, he has Sarah. And I think, what I think is going to probably end up happening is, I don't think he's going to pick Juliana. I'm on the fence of who he's going to pick when it comes to Yam or Sarah. But I do wonder if he was going to pick Sarah and Tulai. Because I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pick Yam. And the moral of the story is, don't fuck a man until you know for sure he's yours. Because they're all dumb. But that's what I think is probably going to happen. Maybe I'll do a poll, you guys, and you can tell me what you think could happen. What do you think he's going to do? Because I think we have some time that we can do that before Sunday. So I'll have a poll up. I should have the poll up by the time this episode airs, or maybe I'll have it up before then. You can tell me when what you think he's going to do. Who is Dylan picking? Because I'm curious to know, like, which way do you think this guy's going to go? So, but yeah, that's basically it for Love and Translation for this week. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including, you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.